In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to scale your service-based business from $1 million to $10 million a year. This is a full-length video course giving it to you for free on how to scale. And this is the exact process that I've used to help hundreds of businesses scale their business to 8 figures and beyond. This isn't going to be your basic growth video. I'm going to show you my exact roadmap on how to build systems and processes and leadership structure that you need so you can finally stop working 50 hours a week plus and actually have a business that runs without you. That's truly a business, not a sexy job. This video will show you exactly that step-by-step process that you need to follow so that you never have to watch another video again. It's all about implementation, and let's make it happen, and let's do this. So I'm going to go how to scale your service-based business from 1 million to 10 million and beyond, the complete scaling system to support you in growing your business. We're going to go over 7 steps to scale your financial systems, the operations, your leadership, your revenue stream, sales, marketing, right? Your mindset, your net worth will only go as high as your self-worth. And then how are we going to exit? Because I think that's important to build it now while you're not. So we're going to dive into this deep. This is the fundamental system that every single business needs in order to grow their business. And most entrepreneurs overlook it until it's almost too late. So what is the prerequisite to sell? Right. So when I look at scaling your business, right, your business has to be set up with an irresistible core offer inside your business, right? We're going to give you a financial health check and looking at stable margins and profit is planned for. We want to make sure that we have a team that can execute without micromanagement. I always say, if I have to tell you how to do your job, one of us isn't needed, right? We want to take $1 million business health assessment so you can see where am I and where do I need to go. Simple questionnaire that allows you to see, and the link is here. So click on the link in the bio so that you can really start assessing where am I at and where am I going. But let's be real. Most business owners wait too long to think about selling. I want you to build it from day one because we're always in the business of selling our business. By the time they're ready to exit, your business isn't ready to exit. So I want to do that simultaneously. So when someone does come knocking, you're ready. Right. We don't want to wait until you're on fire, right? And fire to buy, right? We don't want to have to put that out with an extinguisher. Whether you plan to sell, scale, or pass it down, you need to build a business like a buyer is watching because you know what? They are. The last person that bought my business, the last company, they said they had been watching me for years. Who knew? I didn't know. One of the first things we need to realize as entrepreneurs is you're not the business. Buyers want a business. They don't want you babysitting, right? And they don't want to babysit. So if you're the face, the brain, the execution, the value walks out when you walk out. If your name is on the brand and your calendar is the business, congratulations, right? You just built a fancy job. There's that saying, do I own a job or do I own a business? So it's important for us to look at what are the things that we need in place. The first thing we need is clear and clean, boring financials, right? Accurate, up-to-date P&Ls, balance sheets, tax returns. These are all imperative. I notice when people are doing 1 million to 10 million to 100 million, it's the same. They're just managing more zeros, right? No creative accounting, no personal expenses buried in. I know we all use our businesses to leverage that, but at this level of the game, we want to have it nice and clean. We want trends that show the growth, not chaos, right? There will be that up and down, up and down, up and down, but you want to see it going slowly increasing, right? Buyers hate mystery numbers, right? They hate spikes with no reason. You can have a spike because we did a launch, we did a campaign, we were at an event. Those things make sense, right? The owner paying for everything through the business, right? It looks like you're hiding something. Right. We need to document our SOPs, and SOPs are those standard operating procedures. Now, you may have some, but are they outdated? Right. You may have some, but when was the last time you looked at those? The only reason I was able to sell my business for tens of millions of dollars is because I had every single thing documented, right? For every client delivery, every admin role, every sales, marketing, and hiring, right? We had it all documented. This is how we do it here. We need to centralize that knowledge, not in your head or your VA's head or in your direct messages or emails. That's not centralized knowledge, right? We've got to get it out of their heads and put it onto paper. We want to build it as if we're building a franchise. Systems create that consistency, not chaos. So now, if there's a breakdown inside of my business, I can always say, what about the system don't you understand? That is key. So don't sell potential. We want to sell a repeatable process inside your business. Now, they're also looking for leaders inside the organization. So we need to make sure that key roles with clearly defined outcomes. At this level in the game, we want to be result oriented, not task oriented. Every job description should be result oriented. People are empowered to make decisions, right? Leadership has long-term incentives to stay past the sell date. That's what they call those golden handcuffs. That might be shares in the company. That might be bonuses based on profit. How do we keep people to pay? That's part of what we do, is look inside of your entire business and go, how do we really incentivize people to stay with us, to be loyal to us, to help grow this business? If the business only relies on me, again, then I don't have a duplicatable business. Your revenue is reoccurable. I know every year we push reset and we go down to one, but what do we do that's predictable, retainable? Monthly subscriptions, retainers, contracts are gold, right? We want to reduce reliance on project-based or one-off revenues. They want to see that we've got $1 million, $2 million in reoccurring revenue, $5 million, whatever that is. We want to make sure we have a diverse client base and not one single client making up more than 25% of the income. I had businesses that way. If somebody walked out that went 25 to 50% of my income, that's a volatile business, right? I had to learn to manage inside of that structure. And so know that it's just part of business, right? To go, what percentage does this client stand? What's that lifetime value? Your brand can stand alone. Your brand is world class. World class doesn't mean perfect. It just means world class. So your logo, your site, your social proof, your media, and making sure your team is managing that and updating it ongoingly. You want to trademark your assets, right? That's very easy to do. You want domain control. You want email lists. Email lists, we've all heard, is gold, but making sure that those email lists are active, they're not bouncing, and you're cleaning that out ongoingly. I always believe less is more. I want quality in my database, not quantity in my database. It doesn't matter to me if you have 1 million people in your database if nobody's opening them or nobody's responding to them. We want to document your intellectual property. And again, we want that trademarked. We want your copyright on there so that we know it's your content. Reputations that buyers can leverage, not rebuild. Your reputation is your word. I know our parents always said that your name is worth gold. It truly is, especially in business, right? A buyer doesn't want to build your brand. They want to monetize it. They want to buy bragging rights, and they want to leverage what their expertise is, your expertise, so they can grow a sustainable business. So let's look at a checklist, right? I want you to rate on a scale of 1 to 5. 5 means, Suze, I got this down, right? 1 means you suck at it. And 2, 3 or 3 is right in the middle. So 1, you can leave your business for 30 days without chaos and without you checking your email every 5 seconds. Your SOPs are documented and updated. Again, rate yourself on each one of these. Our P&L, our profit and loss, is clean, current, audited quarterly, and you review them. Your team can run things without you. That is a freedom day and a victory day. I remember being in the hot tub and my team was calling into me. They were on the road, they were giving me stats, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I finally did it. So your team can run without you. We have at least one stream of recurring income and recurring revenue. And your brand is trademarked, polished, and respected. Now, I want you to add those up. If you got 25 to 30, you're exit ready. If you're 15 to 24, you're in motion, but we've got some work to do. If you're under 15, we've got to talk before you burn it down so that you can build a sustainable model. And it doesn't matter how many zeros that you're managing. What matters is it documented? Is it done? Is it in a process that we can sell? Again, we want to build it as if we are building a franchise. Your exit isn't someday. Your exit is every day. I'm rebuying my business every single day I show up. The day you decide to build a business that somebody would beg to buy, you start creating a life that you don't need a vacation from. It becomes fun. I want to manage results, not behaviors. That's why our job descriptions, that's why our meetings are focused on results and focused on by wins, not somebody's personality, not a good day or a bad day. That's probably one of the biggest keys inside of building a brand and building a business. Melissa Evans is one of my clients, and she had no system when she was doing events, and she would sell $20,000 to $30,000 at every event that she would go to, but she was exhausted. She felt like she was chasing, and we turned that into a money-making system versus her running those events. So in 3 days, instead of 20 grand, she made $123,000 by implementing our sales system, right? That's 5x of what it's been in the past because systems are sexy. I want to shift our language and shift our thinking. And systems just aren't technology, they're everything we do inside of the business. That's what operations is. So now I want to look at our financial forecasting. And when we're looking at our financial forecasting, I want to start looking at where are you at? What are the tools that you need? What is that framework that you need? And here's the thing about financial system. They mean nothing if you don't have the next piece of the puzzle. This is actually what separates eight-figure businesses from the ones that are stuck at $1 to $2 million. And so foundationally, we always start with money because we're entrepreneurs. I know me as an entrepreneur, I want to make sure that everything that I'm investing in has an ROI, that return on investment. Every team member, every role that I bring in, whether it's operations, even my admin role, they should be freeing me up from the things that I'm doing so I can make more sales. So when I look at your financial forecasting, and what I love is I'm not an accountant and I'm not a CPA. I didn't get that DR, right, from having an accounting degree. I've got an entrepreneurship, right? And the reason is because the money is the foundation of can we do it, can we not? I don't like anyone telling me no. I want somebody to tell me, I want to say, how much do I need to sell so I can do that thing that I want to do, personally or in business? So having that predictable revenue is a scalable revenue. We need monthly forecasts. So we need to look at what do I need to do every day, every week, every month, every quarter, every year. That's imperative because you're going to have good months, you're going to have bad months, and we want to look at a trailing 12-month to see what is predictable inside this business so you can quit firefighting. You can quit feeling the stress of the ups and downs in the business. That's just planning. We want to calculate your leads and how many leads that you need, and we want revenue milestones that every person in the company is managing, every person is aligned to, and every person is tied to. It's not just on my shoulders. I don't want it to be on my shoulders. I want it to be on the team's shoulders and their responsibility. We're all cheering each other along and we're all making it happen. And so when I look at the financial forecasting and why it's essential, most seven-figure business owners run their company like it's a high-stake guessing game. Yes, it's true. I've managed $40 million companies, $10 million companies, $1 million companies, and not knowing and putting your head in the sand because you don't want to look at it is setting yourself up for sabotage. They don't forecast and they hope and they pray each month works. And I've been there, done that. Look, the reason I'm so passionate about this is because I sucked at it. And so I have made a commitment like, oh my gosh, why is nobody teaching us this? Why is nobody showing me from an entrepreneur standpoint? How do I love the numbers? How do I understand the story of the numbers? How do I make the numbers mean something for me and for my team? Right? They know their numbers like they know their kids' birthdays, right? And they use these numbers to engineer their revenue, not chase their revenue. How many clients do we need to close? What's our average ticket need to be? What does our average transaction need to be? And how do we make that happen? So in our forecast, there is no accidents in long-term planning to your success or your business, right? You got to develop your company to be a world-class business model. And I've changed my business model many times. We had a high-end program. People were paying $35,000 to do that program. People weren't doing the work. I got rid of that program. I want to do business that makes a difference in the world. And I want to look at my sustainability and what will it take to be in business for the next 10 to 25 years, right? Create a development forecast that will provide you with a clear model and a blueprint to set your goals. and to set your goals and set your team goals because that's what's going to keep you excited and them excited. Predictable income doesn't come from manifesting, it comes from math, forecasting, a sales plan. That doesn't suck. I used to work for Lisa Nichols and she talked about the law of attraction. We would have people call in and go, Susie, I'm sitting here meditating on money coming in. I go to my mailbox, there's no money. And I'm like, okay, but what action are you doing on top of the manifesting, on top of the meditating? It isn't sprinkle fairy dust. It's strategy. Business doesn't have to be hard. It has to be strategic. And so, what are the things that we need inside of building your business forecasting? So, when you look at this list, this is a list of all the things, all the SOPs that you need in your business. I don't know about you, but I am a Xerox machine. Tell me what I need to do, and I can do it. Show me what it looks like, and I can make that happen. How many of you are like me? Right? So, one, your agreements. In your agreements, you have to have an attorney that you trust, has to be an attorney in your state. If you're doing business globally, then you need an international attorney to make sure that your agreements can protect you in the time of need. Why I'm such an advocate of this is because I have been sued by employees, by vendors, by contractors, because my agreements sucked. Because I bubblegum, shoestring, band-aid, duct tape, and Googled it and got agreements versus you can do that and then have an attorney review it versus paying for an attorney to write the whole agreement. So being fiscally responsible is doing ahead of time what you know you should have versus trying to skimp and save money, as I did. And we all do it as entrepreneurs. But to go, what does my business need in this season? So think about that every year, every quarter. What does my business need in this season? What systems do I need? What are the structures? What's the software that's going to help me manage this to look at my KPIs? What is our refund policy? Right? And no doesn't always mean no. If something happens, if there's a death, if there's some reason, like you want to think about every possible scenario so that your team is empowered to share that policy. What kind of fees do you want? And quit pulling your pricing out of your hiney, right? The reality is that's not where pricing comes from. And in your pricing, there has to be profit for every single level that we're playing at. And do you know what that number is? And if you don't know what that number is, awesome. Let's figure it out. Don't beat yourself up. Put the stick down. It's not bad. It's not wrong. It's what we all did. We went, what does Susie charge? What does Bill charge? What does Brian charge? What does Melanie charge? What does Josie charge? Here's my pricing. What accounting system are you going to use and do you understand it? Right? I don't do my accounting, but I understand everything that's in my accounting. And so am I looking at those reports? Is my accountant giving me data that I understand? If they're not giving you data that you understand, speak to them and tell them this is what I need to know, right? Are you paying commissions? And what is the minimal acceptable and what is the most commission you can pay and still be profitable? When I look at 80% of businesses are not profitable. And then the 20% that are profitable, they're not paying themselves a proper paycheck to allow them to be profitable. Now, every business has a season. When you're in a growth season, a reinvesting season, your profits might be lower. But that's okay if I can understand it, I can quantify it, I can measure it. I know why there's no profit versus there's no profit. Do you need to secure investor dollars? I'm telling you, there is money all around you. I've raised millions for myself and millions for clients. And the reality is, there is money all around us. So instead of beg, borrow, steal, let's put a strategy together to get investment dollars. Let's set that business up so investors run to you and they want to work with you. That could be a safe investment. My first $1 million, believe it or not, I raised from friends and family. And I didn't think any of my friends and family had money. And so I really knew how to sell the opportunity, the possibility, and the investment strategy of having people tap into maybe their retirement account, other ways that they're not thinking of. And if you have investor dollars, then having stockholder meetings, if you want new investors, if you're going public, what's that tax strategy? At this level of the game, we need a solid tax strategy. The goal is to pay responsibly for your taxes, but I don't want to pay any more than I have to pay, and I will pay my responsibility, right? And in your finances, that accountability. Who is the ultimate buck stops here person? And it may not be you, right? My CFO is ultimately the buck stops here person in my finance department. Because the reality is sometimes they're going to have to tell me no and then give me another plan to say, here's what we need to sell, here's what we need to do in order to be able to spend this amount of money or to invest in this thing or to invest in my retirement or to whatever it is. Compensation reporting, reviewing your compensation, reviewing those KPIs to make sure that your team's doing what they need to be doing and that you're not overpaying. I was just on a call with a client today and we're overpaying for this person, right? We're having to tell them exactly what to do, and they're highly paid. I should not have to tell them how to do business development. That's the wrong person in that role. And then in the financial department, your CFO, your accountant, your um, CPA, what reporting are they giving you as the CEO? Now, you might be wearing many hats, right? You're doing sales, you're CEO, whatever those roles are. But at the end of the day, we've got to look at the financial indicators to make business decisions, right? What are your finances charged? What are your merchants accounts? What percentage are we paying? What are your independent contractors versus employees? And are those agreements in alignment for where you live? And agreements are in place to resolve 90% of the challenge, not 100%, right? So know that they're important just to have a clear conversation about what we do and what we don't do. Now, in our finances, I want to look at new revenue streams. That's that multiple income stream. One to two new products or services. Are you launching those a year? Right? Are you evaluating them a year? Are you getting rid of them? Are you adding them? When I got rid of that $35,000 program, I didn't replace it with anything yet because I needed to sit back. I needed to survey my clients to go, what do we need now? Right? So I want you to look at what are those new revenue streams that you're bringing in and how are we monetizing that? So when I look at mistakes that's happening when we do our financial forecasting is we know that what gets measured gets mastered. And so mistakes that I see are no clear monthly revenue goals. Again, I have a client, we're doing 10 million in sales, and I know this sounds crazy, but when I met them, there was no clear monthly revenue goals. There was no lead gen, right? That when I look at that. So no lead gen that relied on the math to see how many qualified leads we needed. And I'll get into that later, right? Ignoring scope creep or delivery cost. Scope creep is when you take on a project and you say this project's going to be $250,000 or $1 million or whatever the number is, and then the project creeps. More people are doing it. Waiting till the end of the year to track your profitability, that's too late. Waiting to the end of the month, waiting to the end of the quarter, that's too late. I want to start looking at with every single month that we're looking at your numbers to go, this is what our profit's going to be inside that business. And if there's no profit, then that's why you're the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, trying to make it happen so you can pay yourself and pay everybody else. If that's your constant state of business, we just need to look at your pricing strategy. Business is like that combination lock. Remember in school, you turn it right, left, one little tick off, and that sucker didn't open. That's business. One little tick off in your finances, there's no profitability. One little tick off in your pricing, no profitability. One little tick, paying too much, overcompensating for somebody, not looking at their results, that's where your profit comes from. So when I look at people that are the impact of each one of these, if I have no revenue goals, we're always in panic mode, right? If you have no lead gen, then we're doing random marketing stuff. That's that, throw it on the wall. If you're ignoring cost, our scaling is broke. And if you're waiting to the end of the year, then we can't course correct. So each one of these have a very huge impact, not only in your financial wealth, but your mental wealth, my peace of mind. I don't want to be stressed every day, every month, every quarter, right? I want to live my life. My business provides me a lifestyle that a job cannot. So Dr. Judy, when I started working with her, right, she was at $1 million and we grew from 1.5 to $4 million, not 41.5, right? In 2 years, that was an 80% increase. She had a thriving business, right? And what we did was we looked at a new location and we opened that new location. So we tripled her space. which is scary, right? Because you triple the space, you're tripling a lot of the overhead. We focused on her average transaction value. So she had no more capacity to see any more clients, but she wasn't working effectively with every single client. It was if a client came in and a client asked for hormones, the client got hormones. If a client came in and a client asked for blood work, the client got blood work. So we went from more of a consultative approach to every single client every single time, even if they've been with her for years. We determined how many qualified leads needed to come in to hit a revenue goal. And I want you to listen to that. Qualified needs, not just leads. I don't want to spend $1 on a lead. I don't want to spend $2 on a lead, right? Because they're not all qualified. I want quantity versus quality. So we might spend anywhere between $100 to $200 on a lead, but with Dr. Judy, when I look at every client was worth to her $30,000. Okay, I'm going to spend $200 to get 30,000. Does that make sense? Strategic planning and no more guessing. We mapped out every single day, every single month, every single service, right? We looked at our unit cost. How many units did we need to sell to get to that number? So we weren't just throwing a number out in the universe. We looked at what is that number that we need? We automated her sales cycle, right? We leveraged product knowledge videos because everyone wanted to talk to Dr. Judy. So we automated the sales cycle by using product knowledge videos and doing it in a consultative way of the what, why, and how they needed these products to maintain what Dr. Judy recommended. We worked with her team growth, and it turned into be the best team in 9 years because now we worked on everybody's development plan. We developed policies and procedures and less than 90 days to build those systems so she could actually sell it. Her patient retention increased to 90%. Our customer feedback went from to 5 stars and 93% satisfaction. We hired new doctors for new implementation and new therapies. It was no longer just relying on Dr. Judy and taking it in the last 3 months of the year, taking off the last 3 months of the year to not work, right? It's the happiest she's ever been. Before that, she couldn't take a vacation, right? So when we look at, there's a couple tweaks we need to make inside your business. That's that combination lock to allow you to grow, monetize, scale, and sustain. Now, I talked about the qualified lead versus just a lead. And so the cash calculator is something that we created because as an entrepreneur, we were getting leads in and we weren't closing them. And then my team was saying, well, the leads aren't qualified. The leads aren't qualified. And so it was hard to really discern, were they just saying that? Did they suck at sales? Right? Were the leads not qualified? So the first thing we looked at was the quality of the lead, right? And we did an analysis of, is this lead the kind of lead that we want? And what I determined was the lead was not. Then we start to spend more. We went from that $1 to $2 lead to the $100 lead, then sales increased. So this spreadsheet we put, so for all your revenue goals, I'm just giving you a snapshot, right? For all your revenue goals, I'm looking at what's the goal, what is the investment for that, and then it'll determine on auto calculator how many sales you'll need per year, how many leads that you need per month, how many leads you'll need per year, per month, and per week for every revenue line. So there's no more guessing. So marketing looks at impressions. I don't care about impressions. Yes, it's an important indicator for you, but for me, I need click and they're getting into our lead magnet. Click, they're booking a call. That's what's going to have me go, yes, it was worth investing in this ad strategy. So this tool allows us to see the nitty gritty of where our business is and what do we need to be doing differently. Are we getting the right people into our business? If we can't forecast it, we can't scale it. We need predictable success and we need predictable revenue. And that starts with understanding how many leads do I need in my business to hit 1 million, 2 million, 10 million, 40 million, right? I just put together a $100 million plan and it's simple. I just reversed engineered it from what we were already doing. And so it becomes a lead strategy, a qualified lead strategy, and a sales strategy. Again, business doesn't have to be hard. It has to be strategic. Now, one of the things that I put together for myself, again, I'm not a CPA, I'm not an accountant, and I knew that when my partner would say, hey, we need to close a $500,000 this month. I'm like, what? That's just scary. How do you close a $500,000 in a month? So I'm like, okay, what's the thing that I can resonate with and my team can resonate with that makes it doable? And so in my projection sheet that we've created, on the top I measure units and on the bottom we measure dollars. So I can say to a salesperson, so if you look at this, we're going to close one speaking event, right? Speaking for free, we're going to do 5. Now, speaking, if you're not a speaker, but I use speaking to sell. It was never my intention to be this one of the best speakers on the planet. As a young single mom raising 2 little girls, I had to figure out how do I get clients fast? And how do you get clients fast is you go speak. I sucked at speaking. I will be honest. Like I would cry, I would get a stomach ache, I would throw up. It was terrifying to me. But every time I spoke, I would get 5, 10, 20, 100 clients, right? As I got better at it, as I learned the system of closing from the stage, closing a room, right? Doing that follow-up. That's that one to many. So I'm not saying be a speaker for the accolades. I'm saying be the speaker, you as the CEO to get your brand out there. So the speaking event, if you look at this client, Dr. V, we were doing a big money business summit. So she was speaking at 6 events. From those 6 events, we're closing 75 people to come to this event, right? So that event, from that event, then we close 10 people into what we call GLP. So we got 85 sales from those 6 speaking events. Isn't that a much better use of time? Simultaneously, we did a challenge. And that challenge, we had 200 qualified leads come in, right? So the challenge brought the people in so that we could, again, another revenue stream. And then inside that, we sold a master class, right? Or did master class. Master class was for marketing, and the challenge is for marketing, right? Then that's how we closed the 75, the 10, and the 25 for the companion course and one consulting project. So marketing is helping with the challenge. Marketing is helping with the master class, right? And we're selling and the team is closing. That's how you hit a $500,000 in a month. That's how you close $1 million in a month is let's look at the units and then what activities are we doing to make those numbers so that we hit those numbers. This is how you justify spending money on ads. This is how you hold your team accountable. This is how you hold your marketing team accountable is to look at what are the units that we need to be managing. So again, business doesn't have to be hard, but it does have to be strategic. So when I look at operations, operations is always the first person I hire whenever I start any business, right? So the first person I hire is operations, and operations is this is how we do it here. This is how we get it done here. So in finances, if you know that you're stuck and you know you need help, I want you to go back to that link and I want you to click that assessment so you can see where am I, right? Where am I at? What am I doing? Because operations is the lifeblood of what we do. Because if the process isn't in place, if we don't have a roadmap, then we're guessing. And I don't want you to guess because systems equal freedom. Now, I am an entrepreneur and I don't know, sorry, I have allergies. I don't know if you're like me, but I'm a creative, right? I'm a really great entrepreneur because I can see it, I can learn it, I can build it, I can do it, right? But your team needs the system. So it allows us to have more freedom inside the business because now I can manage from a system versus my feelings. And what I know about us as entrepreneurs, we move at hyper speed and most of your team does not. And so if it's not written down, if the instructions aren't there, they don't have to be perfect, by the way. I didn't start this out being perfect. I just started it so I could say, I need you to do all these things. And so when building systems, there's delegation phases, right? There's the task, there's the project, there's the leadership. The phase that we're in is how do I delegate with freedom? How do I delegate so I can breathe? Right? If your team still asks you where the password is, right? If you're onboarding, everything lives in your head and it's not documented. If you're the only one that can put out the fires, then you don't own a business, right? You have a mess with revenue. And this is where we can clean it up and build a sustainable business that you can choose to sell. Unfortunately, a lot of time people come to me and they say, Susie, I want to sell my business. Then we have to reverse engineer and spend 90 days to 6 months putting everything together. I want us to do it now while you're building it, while you're growing it. So, what does that look like to build a seven-figure business and beyond? Now, these don't have to be full-time people. These are part-time people, contractors. These are all the people on my team. They're not all full-time, right? So when I look at your CMO is the head of marketing, right? So they're looking at strategy for the business, right? We've got a paid ad specialist, we've got a social media manager, we've got the implementers, right? So the chief funnel builder, right? I'm skipping the COO and going to that. I know that sounds crazy, but the reality is funnels become an important piece of our revenue generation. And there's so many people out there that say they can build a powerful funnel and a funnel that produces, but in my experience, there's not. And so, yes, funnels can be expensive, but when they work, they're very profitable, right? So, a landing page specialist, optimization and tracking, and looking at our social media ads and looking at all that spend and looking at where they're stopping in the funnel and looking at heat maps and where they're coming into our website and where they're not. All this stuff is imperative for us to look inside of our business. So the COO, that's what I am, a fractional COO. And now I'm looking at the whole business, right? But the director of operations is managing, this is how we do it here. These are the systems, these are the roles, this is the clarity, right? I'm managing that business development person. I'm managing an associate that's putting the operations in place. I'm not doing those. I'm bringing an operations associate in, whether that's a manager or a director of operations. That's the team that we need to help you implement all this. And then the CFO is money. Right? We're looking at, is this business profitable? What is the profitability for every product? What is the profitability for every team member? Every team member, right? That's imperative to know. And we can put a number to even your assistant. So no one builds an empire on chaos. We get it with our back end. And our back end means that operational structure. And that back end is sexy. I want to change the language and look at how do I create this for myself and for my team? And when I start looking at systems, this geeks me up because I know the better system I build, the better my team will perform. So in your customer management, that's going to look at the CRM. And are you using it or is it just a sexy database? Right? We want to make sure we segment our clients. A clients are those clients with your highest lifetime value. B clients are the clients that are that mid-tier client. They could technically be an A client. So I want to move my B clients to A clients. Those A clients, I want to hone them. I want to increase their value. That's what we did with Dr. Judy first, is we took those A clients and really leveraged them. Then we took the B clients and made them A clients, and we took the C clients that were sometimers and put a separate campaign together for those clients to get them in more and looked at the overall lifetime value of the customer. That's how we grew so fast. And so in your marketing, you want my funnel systems and making sure everything's talking. What I noticed when we start growing a company, we grow in silos, or I did. I'll talk about me, right? Because I'm fine talking about what I did wrong and what I did right. So I might have hired a sales team and the sales team wasn't talking to the marketing team, right? The sales team was saying, we don't have this, and the marketing team needed to put together. What can we automate, right? What kind of in the sales follow-up, what do we automate? In new sales, what can we automate to make their life easier so they're not getting stuck in admin work, that there's some automation in place? And then how long in our sales cycle is it from contact to contract? That number is important to know. So my client that's doing 10 million, it takes a year from contact to contract. Sometimes it can take 2 years. So if I'm hammering on a sales team member and they've got 20 RFPs out, I got to look at, when did we start that RFP? When did we start that relationship? And where are they in the sales cycle? So that I'm not beating people up because sales aren't coming in. It's a nurture process. How can I automate more touch points so that they're moving on to the next RFP? And how many RFPs, that's request for proposals, do I need to hit that revenue goal? So we just broke this down today. So if we're doing 15 million, how many proposals do we need to have in the pipeline to hit that number? because I don't want to wait. I don't want to do onesie twosie because most people, salespeople get excited if it's a big contract. They're like, well, I have this $2 million proposal on the table. Yeah, but it could take a year. So I need many of those so that they're closing ongoingly. Don't SOP everything. SOP what makes money and save time. Eventually, you'll get everything. But I want to look at what's the fastest return on investment. So we're going to rate yourself on an operation assessment. I love assessments because it allows me to judge me, right? It allows me to rate myself to go, do I suck at this or are we good at this? So I want you to look at it from the lens of nothing's wrong. This isn't about you being perfect. It's like, where are the holes in my business? So I do this every year in every aspect of my business. And so when I ditched that $35,000 program, and by the way, we were doing 2 million in sales in that program. That was a hard thing to ditch. But at the end of the day, there was a big hole in it, a hole for me and a hole for them. They weren't doing the work, and that wasn't fun anymore. So sometimes you've got to be willing to lose it all to get it all. Now, in this assessment, you're going to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 means you're amazing. One mean you're not great at it or you suck, and that's okay to suck. I think when we can be honest with ourselves to go, we need to improve upon this, that allows you the freedom to put a strategy in place and an action in place. So let's rate yourselves on scripts. So scripts for new, existing, just looking customers. What does that sales script look like? What does that customer fulfillment script look like? Scripts for everything. You built a strong business because you are a master at this stuff. I want to get it out of your head, get it on paper. Now we have a $100,000 script that's in our book. And why do I call it that? Because I close $100,000 when I use the script. I've been using the script for 20 years. The script works. And I am a salesperson. I'm a coach. So I get on a call. I want to fix, I want to help. Not time to do that until we close the sale. So number one, do you have scripts in place? And rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 means you've got it, Susie. 5 means I have scripts, nobody use them. And 1 means I don't have either one of those. We're winging it. Number 2, you have a policy and procedure manual. So how your business is run, how you take vacation, how they ask for time off, what is your bereavement schedule, what do they do on maternity leave, what do we do? Is there a no drug policy? I mean, I know it sounds silly, but I had someone doing heroin in the bathroom one time. So that's when I put that one in, like grounds for firing. So it's important to think of all the things that you need inside your business to go, policy and procedures. Again, it eliminates 90% of the problem, right? I can't stop that she did drugs in the bathroom, but I can release her now because she did drugs in the bathroom. Your compensate, so rate yourself, it's 1 to 10. Your compensation structure, is it clear? Is it concise? Is it possibility? Is it opportunity? Is there a growth plan in place? Do they understand how they're compensated? This is probably one of the most confusing things that happen when I go into a company. They don't know how to grow. So they're in a salary and their salary was exciting when they got hired on, but they've had that salary for 3 years now, and now they're bored and they want a new challenge. Or now they're taking it for granted. And so what does that compensation structure look like? And are you clear on it for every level inside your business? And are you relevant and marketable compared to the next company? I don't want to lose people because we're overpaying, and I don't want to keep people because we're overpaying. I want to compensate people fairly and properly for the results that they produce. Number 4, are you doing team coaching and training? And again, you don't have to do it, but somebody has to be doing it in your organization. This is imperative. The number one, I kid you not, biggest challenge in all organizations when I come in and do a needs analysis, we do a 90-minute training to get everybody on the same page. The number one complaint is lack of communication. And the thing the owner always says is, I over communicate, Susie. I try so hard. So where is the disconnect? And I believe it's in coaching and training. Is we tell them to do something, we're not coaching them how to do it or training them how to do it. We just expect them to do it, and then we're not revisiting that. So rate yourself on team coaching and training. Number 5, do you have SMART goals in team meetings? Are your meetings about the meetings? Again, let's create result-based companies to allow your business to thrive. And that's going to be the specific, the measurable, the attainable, the realistic, and timeline. Like, break it down. If you're going to build a multi-million-dollar company, let's break it down so people can win and they can see that they win. And I want you to rate yourself. This isn't concept. I've been doing this for 30 years. This is what makes my organizations grow and makes my organizations sellable. Number six, your vision and your mission. It's not just a piece of paper on the wall. It's something you live. It's something that exudes from every single team member. They are culture fit or they're not. If people are gossiping, they're not living in your mission and your vision. If people are complaining about your job, they're not living in their mission and your vision. I know you started out with something amazing. Let's hold it true and live it every single day, every single week, every single month, every single meeting. Have it being a living, breathing document inside your organization and rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. Did you do it 10 years ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, and it's a sexy piece of paper on the wall and it looks good? Or do people really know what it is? I have a client that they would read it every single week, but nobody knew it. How do you read it every single week and nobody knew it? They all had to grab the piece of paper. I want them, it's your fingerprint, it's your business. So rate yourself. Number seven is a needs assessment. The needs assessment is finding the need, filling the need inside of your sales. Finding the need, filling the need. Notice I didn't say sales here. I said a needs assessment. I don't care if you're selling $1,000 product or $1 million product. It's imperative that we have a needs analysis, a needs assessment for every client that we're meeting. We implemented this with Dr. Judy, right? We took the client from here to here, from I need all this stuff to here's the solution. And Matt, 5x her business. Rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. What's your follow-up systems? Your follow-up systems for your team and accountability, your follow-up systems for your customers, your follow-up systems for everything that's happening, every project that's going on. What is that system? Or do you Siegel manage? I used to be a Siegel manager. I'm not going to lie. A Siegel manager is you fly on and you poop on their heads and you fly away, right? That's what seagulls do. They come in, whoosh, poop on your head and fly away. I would fly in, give directive and poop on everyone, tell everybody what to do, and then I would fly away and go do my own thing. And I realized that that wasn't serving anyone, especially me, because I was always mad and upset. They just didn't do what I said. Well, I was being lazy and I didn't have the system in place to hold them accountable. So if you're a Siegel manager, give yourself a 2 and then let's build it, right? It does, again, nothing about this is you're doing anything wrong. It's what can I improve upon? What's that combination lock? Number 9 is managing your growth. This is your profit and loss. This is plan and reviews. This is accountability. This is project management. Manage that growth so you're not putting out fires. The reason you have fires is because we're not managing what's happening with our team, our sales, our systems, and we're running hot. Now, we all firefight. We've all done it building a business. I want to take that control back for you inside of your business. So rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. And then the last thing is, what are you doing to support you? Who's your coaches? Who's the people that are helping you? What kind of financial advisors do you have? What kind of executive coach do you have? What kind of leadership coach do you have? What for your physical fitness, for your health and well-being, right? If I look at my life, I've got a fitness coach. I've got a health coach, right? Dr. Judy. I've got 3 financial managers because one's a tax one, one's a retirement one, and one's my CPA inside of my business. And then I have a personal development coach, aka therapist. I have 6 people that I plug into and a business coach. 7 people that I plug into on an ongoing basis, not all at the same time, on an ongoing basis to support me so I get my head right. I get rid of that stinking thinking because that comes up. Our negative mindset or limiting mindset, our fear all creeps in. That's just real. That's just owning a business. And so for me to pretend that it's not there for me to sit on a mountaintop to go, I have this all handled, would be wrong. When I quit doing that $35,000 program and closed down 2 million in revenue, I was freaking out. But I had my business manager and my business coach to walk me through. I put my financial projections together. I told myself I was going to take a year to step back. And even though I told myself I was going to take a year to step back, I'm still freaked out. So it's important to have who's supporting you to hold you to your greatness. You honor the dignity of the human spirit when you hold team accountable. So I want you to total up your score. So in an ideal world, your score would be 100. In doing this over the past 25 years, nobody's ever gotten 100. Let me just be honest with you. So if you have 100, if you're in the 90s, you're probably don't really know what's happening under the hood of your car. Now, if you do, congratulations. Maybe you have a franchise. Maybe you learned from the beginning to build this right. I'm proud of you. Go teach this stuff. Go teach other people how to do it, right? Or sell that business or, keep growing money either way, right? When I'm doing this with clients, the average scores that I'm seeing 30, 40, 50 is a good score. I want you to identify your two lowest scores out of all of these. And not most people go, but Susie, they're all low. Okay. If they're all low, then what I want you to do is I want you to start with your finances. I want you to start with your managing your growth, your P&L, right? Your financial system. I want you to start with getting owner support, get a coach, right? Get the team who's going to help me grow this business. Those are the first two things that you need to do. Then I want you to focus on your sales because the P&L will give you what we need to do for sales, right? Then what we need to do in marketing, right? And what two actions will you take because you sat here and you watched this video? Don't just watch this video. Don't waste your time. Don't waste my time. My time's already here, but don't waste your time. Actually do something. Action is the antidote for despair. I want you to look at what are the areas that I need to focus on inside my business. Now, I want to show you how we set up our SOPs because I think it's important. We use Trello. And so this is just a sliver of our Trello board. And our Trello board has everything I need inside my business. So think about it, like the best way to describe it is like the old-fashioned filing cabinets. Remember, I used to have like 6 of them in my office, right? This is the filing cabinet. So every board is a file drawer, right? So this happens to be speaking and strategy assessments, our templates, our trainings, our business information, right? Everything that we need in order for our business to run smoothly. And I'm in this every single day. My team's in this every single day. So no more, get it out of your head, get it in paper. Google Drive, I love it, but it can be a hot mess. Everything gets lost. So I want a place where I can keep it organized. I want a place where I can see where everything is so that I'm leveraging what it is that I need to do. So Cindy and Debbie came to me. They owned 6 locations. And so the problem when they came to me is they were burnout. They were managing everything themselves, right? What we did was we started implementing SOPs. We put a Trello board together for them. We created videos and trainings and hired a regional leader. We got everything out of Cindy and Debbie's head and put it inside a system. The team now runs 80% of the daily ops. Erin, who is the regional manager, doubled her revenue and took a 2-week vacation in 10 years. That's just sexy. Finally, by organizing everything, it allowed her the freedom without freaking out. So we didn't add more work. We added more clarity and we gave the clarity back in their own life. I just want to say, boom, drop the mic. If you're not excited, you're missing the boat, right? And so when I started first putting together systems, one of the things I had to do was like, I wasn't good at it, right? I didn't put flow charts together. I didn't know how to do that. But what I did know how to do is I put checklists together. These are all the things that they need to do. Now, you don't need to do them. If you have an operations person, they're going to do it for their department. A salesperson, they're going to do it for their department. A CFO, they're going to do it in their department. An accountant's going to do it in their department. Don't do this all yourself. Delegate. If they can't put it together, if I have to tell you how to do your job, one of us isn't needed. So they should be able to give you a comprehensive list. And then from the list, we work on the how-tos. Then from the list, people who love to put graphs together, I love spreadsheets. I'll give you a spreadsheet any day of the week, right? So that they can put it together. Keep it simple, keep it visual, and keep it accessible. Because this SOPs are going to change ongoingly. When you go from 2 million to 5 million, you're going to need different SOPs and more SOPs. You'll have some same. When you go to 5 to 10, you'll have more SOPs and different SOPs. So you want them to grow as you grow. You don't want to set it and forget it. You don't want to go, oh, I did that, right? Is it still the current branding? Does this have everything we do? Did we change software? It's always in a place of refinement. You're always reevaluating it. So in our quarterly meetings, that's one of the initiatives every quarter is what do we need to update? What do we need to do? A messy back end will kill your momentum. And more importantly, it'll kill your sales, right? The more you scale without systems is the faster you burn out. And I'm just speaking from experience, right? That's that hustle muscle. That's torching the candle at both ends. It's not even burning the candles at both ends, right? We don't need to do more. We need to delegate better. We need to document smarter, right? We need to operate like the badass CEO that you are, right? You have duality inside of your role. Some of us are still technicians in our business. Right now, I'm being a technician. And I've got to have my CEO time to look at my whole business, not just being the technician in my business. And I'll tell you, I get burnout. And I just want to stick my head in the sand and I don't want to. And you can do that when you have a team that operates around you. But when you're trying to do it all yourself, it's exhausting and you can't keep up that level of momentum because action is the antidote for despair and radical action. So from this piece of the training, what radical action do you need to take? So start by taking the business health assessment to see where you're at so you can see where the holes are and just be honest with it, right? And then I'm giving you a customized video back on what I saw. And if you already are realizing that this is the exact clarity you've been needing, I want you to reach out to me, right? You don't have to suffer. Suffering is optional. We can jump on a call, and in that call, a 30-minute session. I know it sounds banana. I'll give you the path to 10 million. Don't waste time. Let's take action. So most business owners, when I look at leadership, right, they don't realize that it's about building teams. Even with the most amazing people, your business will still hit a ceiling. I always tell my team, listen, and the sad part is, before I started really doing leadership development, I would outgrow my team because they didn't keep up with me. Then I realized they were great people, but I wasn't putting development plans together for them. I wasn't doing assessments with them to see what were their blind spots. It was either you made it or you didn't. And that's not going to grow your culture. You're going to have turnover and high turnover. Now, our people were very loyal, but it seemed like when we took huge revenue jumps, their skill sets weren't jumping with me. So I need to look at every single team member and go, what skill set does this person need to go to the next level? And if you know they're not going to go to the next level, release. It's okay. You will outgrow people. The team that got me here is not the team I started with. And the team that's going to get you there is not, maybe won't be there, right, in the next 3 to 5 years. And that's okay. And everyone's not going to stay with you forever. That was disheartening for me because I'm like, I'm a good boss. They'll stay, right? Because I'm loyal. I'll stay. Right? CEOs that delegate generate 33% more revenue than those who don't. I always say math is money and money is fun. And so when I look at, I can have 33% more revenue. So what does that look like? So money you make now on a project, 100 grand, 33% more is 33 grand. If you close $250,000 contract, 30%, 33% more effective is 82 grand. A half a million, it's 165. A million, it's 330,000, right? This is the power of delegation. This is the power of you not doing it all. This is the power of leaving the table squeaky clean. This is the power of flexibility and freedom. This is the power of happy scaling. So if you look at the weaknesses of leaders, right, what's in the way. This study was done by Gallup, right? Holding people accountable is the biggest weakness in leadership. I see that, right? All the time. That's part of that communication, 18%. Keeping underperformers. I'm just letting that sit for a minute, 15%. Staying focused, 11%. Creating a great business strategy, 10%. These are the weaknesses that leaders across the globe. Why am I sharing this with you? Because you need to know you're not alone. I didn't like to hold people accountable because I felt like a bitch. Well, I'm sorry. Sometimes I will be. I had to learn because I got really intense when I had to hold somebody accountable because I was scared. I didn't want them not to like me. I didn't want them to quit. Isn't that always the thing when someone says, I got to talk to you? I'm like, oh God, they're quitting. And they're not necessarily quitting. Right. But I didn't want to hold people accountable. And so each one of these I can relate to and to go, know that you're not alone. The importance of listening to trainings like this, hiring a coach like me, is to know that you're not alone. We're all struggling with something, right? Being analytical in the business, right? Weaknesses, that's 10%. Communicating clearly, empathy for employees, motivating my employees, hiring the best people, identifying new opportunities, and empathy for customers. So when you look at what area are you weak in? What area do you need to build the muscle in? Because that's all it is. It's a muscle we need to build, right? It's like going to the gym, or I used to always say, well, I'm reading Shape magazine, I'm reading fitness magazines, but I'm not fit. Well, I'm sitting on my booty all day long. I want you to look at, what do I need to do differently for my business to run optimally? Let me say that again. What do I need to do differently for my business to run optimally? We have to understand the 80/20 rule. You may think 80/20 is simple, but 80% of the outcomes come from 20% of the causes. The rule is often used to point out 80% of the company's revenue is generated by 20% of the customers. So, viewed this way, you might be advantageous for a company to focus on 20% of the customers that are responsible for 80% of the revenues. That's the A customer. What can we do differently? And that's all about your leadership. So we're going to rate our leadership again, just like we did operations. Wasn't that valuable? It's always valuable to me. Now I want you to look in this season with this group of people inside this business, not who you think you are in this business in this season, right? So team members have the opportunity to influence decisions that affect them. Yes or no? Scale of 1 to 10. All processes are designed to make it easier for our customers to do business with. Even my business, I would say we're probably at a 7. Right now, I got to go, what's going to take it to a 10? Leadership in your organization is aligned around the shared vision and values. This is what I'm talking about. It's not a sexy piece of paper on the wall. We're living, breathing document. And if it doesn't work, let's create a new one. If the values aren't aligned, or if someone's not aligned with your values, get rid of them. That's that whole one bad apple. Everyone in the company maintains the higher standards of quality and services. The people in my company have faith in senior leadership. Can I tell you how many times I go into a company and they're gossiping about their manager or the leader or the owner? Like they want me to fix them. That is a red flag. We need to make sure that our teams have faith in us. And how do we do that? Development plans. How do we do that? Planner reviews, right? So you want to rate all these on a scale of 1 to 10. Number 6, people in our company actively support in development of new skills and competency. So they're in some kind of training, personal development and business development. Did you know that 85% of our financial results are based on the development? 15% of our success is the skill that it takes. So I learned this early back my first career. I owned a salon and spa, and I was a hairdresser. And I wouldn't say I was the world's best hairdresser, but I had an amazing clientele. We had an amazing business because I focused on the 85%. And that's what we do as a business, help you look at the 85%. You're an expert at what you do. I have a company that's an energy company. I didn't know anything about energy, but I do know people. I do know numbers. I do know management. I do know systems. So, number 7, our systems, our structure, our formal and informal practices to make it easy to follow. Again, don't get all jargony in your systems. Let's make sure people are using them. You can upgrade ongoingly. Does the company continually incorporate new learnings into standard way of doing business? Continually. What's new? What's now? Are you using AI? Are you leveraging it? Are you leveraging the talent all around you? What can we do new, different that makes it easier? AI has changed the game. I'm getting 50 times more work done than I ever have in the past. Do people have access to the information needed to do their job correctly? I know that's why that Trello board, whatever project management software that you're using, there's many of them out there. That's access to the information that you need when you need it. Our system structure, are they formal, informal, and are they integrated and aligned? You can't just have a system because the systems are only as good as how people use them. So again, add up your score. Again, nobody in the history of doing this, no, I would not get 100 on this. Nobody gets 100 on this because we're developing. Again, every $250,000, it's a different business, right? It's not the same business. And so you're going to have to put new systems, new strategies in place. So how did you rate, right? I want you to look at that. And again, I want you to pick the 2 lowest scores. The 2 lowest scores. What do I work on first? It might just be a whole list of what systems we need to put in place. It might be looking at my team to figure out where do they need an improvement plan. When you invest in them, they'll invest in you. Be committed to them and their growth and their outcome. And I want to look at reporting and how are we reporting, right? Because what gets measured gets done. And this is part of your leadership. This is part of what allows us to work inside of efficiency. So every team member gives me something like this every week so that I'm looking at what did they work on. I know they're busy. I know they're doing stuff, and I review for my direct reports what is it they're doing and what's in action, what's completed, and what support they need. So their weekly reports are just giving me a high level overview of what's in action, what's completed, and what do they need support in. Part of my secret weapon is I use this tool called the Harrison assessment. I've been using it for 20 years. This is I love assessments, by the way. Can you tell? We've done two already. So as leaders, we need to look at how do I manage this person? Now, I've done them all, the Colby, the Harrison, Myers-Briggs, DISC, like you name it, we've probably done it, right? And I love them all. This one, though, does their behavioral traits. It tells me their life theme. What do they need inside of the company for them to stay motivated? It tells me what are their competencies. And the best part is it tells me under stress or duress, where's the breakdown going to be? So it allows me to know how to manage this person from day one versus 6 months, right? When you set clear expectation and follow through with consistency, that's what has people grow. So if you know you need something like this, again, reach out to me, email my team, Susie at susiecarter.com. And that's SUSIECARD as in dollar dinero, deliciousER.com, right? To see how can we support you. My goal is to give you the resources that you need to grow the company of your dreams. I don't want you to build a nightmare. I want you to build a company that you love, that you're proud of, and that you're ready to do it. So let's talk revenue generation because this is the foundation of our business. Remember, when I start working with a client, even though I'm a fractional COO, my clients call me the profit coach. Why? Because I'm the money. I find the money, leverage the money, get the money, look at where it comes from. And so when you're looking at your revenue, you probably already have this, right? I might be saying the obvious, but the reality is what is our value ladder? What's our product ladder? What are we going to do to get people in? Now, I'm going to be honest, I reverse engineer this. So see on the bottom, it says free product. I start at the high price. I start at high ticket offer. Why? Because if I'm looking at time, I'm looking at leveraging, and especially when you're looking at fast growth, I want to look at how do I get more of these clients and then downsell them as I go. The free product is a lead magnet. Those leads are just coming in. That's a longer nurture sequence. I want to spend my marketing dollars on our high ticket clients and that possibility. I want to spend all my energy there. That's spending 80% of my time with 20% of the people. It's a shift. I know all marketers go, we need low hanging fruit. Well, I don't know about you, but to sell a $49 thing, $29 thing, $20 thing, a book, I've got to sell hundreds of thousands of those to make the same as I would with a couple high ticket offers. So I want you to look at your model and is the model dysfunctional for what you're creating, or does the model serve you for what you're doing? I want to look at value-based pricing, not time pricing, because pricing is a formula and profit is part of that formula. No more guessing, no more pulling it out of your butt. I want you to know this is why I need to charge what I'm charging. So cost-based pricing and there's value-based pricing. And then there's time-based pricing. So cost-based is looking at your product, your cost, your price, the value, and the customer. Well, and what we're talking about is values is we flip that. We go, who's that customer and what's the value and the solution that our company brings? And then how much does that need to be? What's the cost? What's the product? It's a slight difference, but a huge difference in looking at our optimization. And I need you to know your damn numbers. You don't know your numbers, right? And the worst thing you can tell someone like me is, well, I don't know. We can't run our business not knowing. It's like going to New York or going to California, whatever coast you are, or going to Spain and not knowing how you're going to get there. You would never do that. You would plan it out. So I want you to look at your offer is based on the results, not your time. Your offer at this level is based on your expertise, the company's expertise, not the newbie you just hired. Even if you've hired, let's say you have a consulting firm and you've hired a new consultant, that consultant is coming into your fold and the results your company has helped for other clients. And they should be bringing value immediately. What's the solution you solve? So, what are you charging? And I know you're leaving money on the table. And why are you charging what you're charging? That's an important question because 90% of the clients that I work with, their pricing does not match where they need to be. And there is a formula. And most people don't know the formula. And it took me years to find the formula. And the reason that I had to find this formula is, remember I said I owned a salon and spa. We did $1 million. At that time, this was in 1998, 99, 2000, right? When we had that company. And when I look at that organization, the first year in business, we did $1 million, but we lost 70,000 because I did my pricing on competitive analysis and then pulled it out of my butt. And I didn't do my pricing on every single product. And I didn't do my pricing on my weakest link. I did it on the highest producer, who was me. So I don't want you to leave pricing to chance. I want you to understand your break even. I want you to understand what do we need to create to be profitable. And I want a minimum of 25% profit. Less than 10% of businesses are profitable. Less than 10% of businesses are profitable. I'm not committed for that for you. So when I look at your labor costs, right? So let's say your desired projection for something is 100,000, right? My labor, then if I got 2,083 hours to work, my base price that I need to pay that person is 100 grand. And so it's important to look at your everything when we're looking at your costs. What's your time? For real, what's your time? And that's adding scope creep. What are our materials, our shipping, our taxes, our label, our packaging, our profit? I should put that one first, right? And what's our wholesale and what's our resale? Now, I do have a spreadsheet because I love spreadsheets because spreadsheet can just, get rid of the math scaries, right? People still have math scaries, and sometimes I get intimidated. I get, my limiting mindset will come up, right? And I have to work with my mindset coach to help me let that go as I add more zeros to my business. So know that whatever your issue is, it won't go away completely. It might rear its ugly head later, right? I had a $1 billion project I was working with. And on this $1 billion project, I noticed myself getting nervous. I noticed myself avoiding Sharon's calls. I noticed myself not putting the proposal together. And then I had to get into a deep meditation and go, why am I sabotaging? Because that's all I was doing. And I realized that my limiting mindset was, I don't know how to manage that much money. I can manage 100 million. I can manage 200 million. I can put projections together all day long, but that number, I didn't even know how many zeros to put there. And so I sabotaged that agreement. I sabotaged that relationship. I sabotaged that contract. And so the bigger you play, the bigger the breakdown. The bigger you play, the bigger the breakdown. And know that if you're not having breakdown, you're not playing big enough. Let's talk about sales and marketing because everything that I've said to this point sets up sales and marketing, right? It's not we're just selling stuff. We're just putting a drip campaign together. It's looking at your whole strategy and they're different, right? They're not one. A lot of times we lump them together, but if we doing all this and we don't have systems for it, then it becomes the bottleneck. I want predictable sales. I want predictable marketing. I want predictable results. And so looking at our sales and marketing, making sure somebody's looking at the top of the funnel, the middle of the funnel, and the bottom of the funnel. And if more leads are at the bottom of the funnel, then either we need to shift our strategy or we're not getting qualified leads in, right? What does that sales call look like? What's the breakdown look like? What does your script look like? What are our lead gen systems? Reiki said the answers are in the question. I thought being a leader was I had to have all the answers. And now I realize when I'm coming to a marketing team, I'm going to ask a lot more questions and I'm okay not knowing the answer now in this season in my business. Where before I thought I had to know all the answers to earn the right to sit at the table. Mm-mm. You're at the table because you built a business. You're at the table because you're willing to learn and invest in yourself. Benjamin Franklin said, take the coins from your purse, invest them in your mind, and your mind will fill your purse overflowing. And so, whatever piece of the business is still blurred and scary and feels unattainable, then let's put some education around it. So, I used to think a funnel was one and done. And I know the more sophisticated you are, you're delegating it, but am I getting the result I want? And if we're not getting the result I want, let's look at our sales funnel. Again, from the leads come in from opportunities, and your lead magnets will come in from many different places. our SEO, our pay-per-click, our social media, our free content, our blogs, our speaking events, right? That's all the top of the funnel, right? And again, if you look at the little graph here, 5,000 leads come in, right? How many leads are going to drop to the sell part? Those numbers we have to know so we can see which part of the system in your sales funnel is broken. What little tick is off? How's our follow-up? How's our conversion? What are the obstacles that are coming up? So when I look at the conversion with Dr. Judy, the obstacle was we couldn't find time with Dr. Judy because she gave such prescription-based recommendations. So the videos we put in place were Dr. Judy doing prescriptions based on weight loss, based on fatigue, based on hormonal, based on MIT, based on women in different age groups. So we automated that obstacle part and put it onto her site. So there's many different creative ways to do this. It's not one size fits all. And so I want you to look inside your business of how many units equal sales, right? And what's coming in. And so we help you build this out. This one might look more confusing. This one might look better, right? Just want to show up many different ways so that you can see what is it that we need to put in place and how do we put it in place. Hopefully you have something sophisticated. If we don't have anything sophisticated, let's make something sophisticated, right? So again, we're automating as much as we can so that your salespeople, their highest income producing activity isn't sending emails. Their highest income producing activity is on the phone with a client, in a Zoom meeting with a client. So again, this training is all about what are the holes inside my business and what do I need to do to fix those holes? What capture tools do I need? Capture tools, or what systems do I need to capture the data? The higher your revenue, the more sophisticated you get. But listen, I don't want you to be so sophisticated or the system to be so sophisticated that you don't use it. I had several of those, right? And there's a couple on this list that we had that I realized that we're overpaying for something we're not using, kind of like our phones, right? We have this amazing ability right at our fingertips, and we only use a percentage of it. And so if we're going to invest in software, if we're going to invest in tools, let's invest in people to learn how to do those tools. So let's look at our sales cycle, and I want you to find where's the hole in my sales cycle? Where's the hole in my team sales cycle? A lot of times I see the first hole is always the lead generation, not knowing how many qualified leads we need, not knowing how many are coming in, not knowing where they're coming in from, not knowing who are those best qualified leads, really identifying that ideal client profile to the nitpickiest things. So it's an immediate yes or no. In your discovery call, which is your sales call, are you doing a needs analysis? Right? So the $100,000 script that I'm talking about that's in our Power of the Profit book, we look at the situation, the need, implication, and recommendation, right? Then we're going into client enrollment. Are they qualified? Right? How many times have we signed people up for programs that should not have been in that program? I know we have done it. And I spend way more time trying to keep that client or figure out financial arrangements for that client or give them private coaching to increase their sales versus let's go back to step one, lead generation, right? And then from that lead generation, everything else changes. And if I look at only 25% of leads that come in will say yes, right? That's the immediate action taker. 75% need nurture, need more information, right? Need testimonials, need referrals, needs follow-up, needs value, right? So 75% of your customers are stuck in the nurture cycle. And if you don't have anything nurturing them, we're just dropping that. We spend so much time on the front end getting them, and then we lose them more than halfway through the sales process, right? Then we want to evaluate. What's not on the evaluation is I want you to get more testimonials. So in that evaluation stage, when they're completed, they're happy with their results, that's when you want to do the testimonial video. Don't wait till you need testimonials, get them, do them while your clients are excited about what you're doing. And that will give us, the results that you're looking for. So I'm going to show you my $100,000 assessment and my $100,000 script, right? Naomi, who came to me, she said, I just did the stair step questions and I closed my first $10,000 clients. Laura said the stair step questions is a game changer. I went from 1 hour discovery calls to 25 minutes and a 50% closing. So this is the value of a system. So my first coach, Doug Carter, taught me this system over 30 years ago, and I've been using this system. I used it in the salon I owned. I used it as a distributor sales consultant. I used it in MLM. I used it as a consultant inside this industry. I use it as a trainer on stage. I use it now inside of my business to close 100,000 to a $500,000 contracts. The system works. So no longer do you want to just wing it. You really want to get that information. What I want you to do is I want you to try this system 10 times before you say you like it or you don't. Here's the foundation piece. Don't change the questions. Don't change the questions, right? Say them exactly how they are on here. The first one, which is what's your position in your business, that one's flexible. How'd you get started in your business? What do you love about your business? Why do you in this business? Right? Just to get you're building rapport and trust. How did you get started? That's their story. That's their origin story. That has them share their commitment to you. And then I want you to repeat what you heard them say so they know that you're listening. I write everything down so they know that I care and they know that I'm listening. Then you want to get into the need. So the first part is just, finding the need, right? And the need is what's your greatest frustration in your life, in your business at this point? What's your biggest challenge in your business? These two questions, let them rattle. There might be several, there might be one, but let them rattle. You write it down. You don't say anything at this point. And then what I want you to do is, how do you know you need this in your business? This is going to give us evidence. So how do they know they need this? Well, I have no profitability. How do you know you need this? Because my salespeople suck. How do you know that's your biggest challenge? Because we don't have qualified leads. This is the evidence that you need to really give them what they deserve. So when was the last time something like this happened? 9 times out of 10, they'll say last week, they'll say yesterday. I want it relevant. If they're like, it hasn't happened in a while, then that's not their biggest challenge. And can I just tell you, this is magic? It is magic. Like, it takes all the selling off the table. Just like Laura said, I went from an hour consult to 25-minute consult and closed 50% more people. So the implication is, if you don't improve upon this, what happens to your business? So if you don't improve upon what their biggest challenge was, what happens in your business, right? You want to keep asking what happens in their business. First, they'll say, well, sales will be low. Okay, well, then what happens? Well, then I'll be frustrated. And then I'll have to put my own money in. Well, and then what happens? And then what happens? So you want to get to the meat and the potatoes of what happens if they don't change that. And then ultimately, what's the long range impact if you don't change it? This is where you want to get to really the gut of what they want in their life, and their life won't work unless they change this sales thing, they change this profit thing, they change this pricing thing. Whatever the biggest challenge is, I need them to get there, because you know why? You're the solution. I'm the solution. So let's say I can help you improve upon this situation. How would that help you? Now I'm saying, let's say me and you can improve upon this situation. And then what would it mean to you if we can improve upon it? And then ultimately, what would that mean for you? Now, this last question is the cherry on top. The ultimate question is, Susie, what are you willing to do to have what you want? Now, if they start putting a budget together, if they start going, I don't know, then we've not gotten to the real pain. This is what I want to hear them say is, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to solve this pain. Then you know that's your client. Then you're going to repeat back everything that they said. That's why you need to take copious notes in the moment. Right now, I have chicken scratch, so you can't even read it when I'm doing it, but I know what I meant when I said it, and it just helps my recall. Because when I repeat it back, then I say, can I make a recommendation based on what you say? They always say yes. And then based on what my offer is, this is what I recommend. And this is what we do. And this is how we started. And this is what it looks like. And this is what the investment is. See how easy that is? I took a complicated conversation, and sometimes for salespeople, a scary conversation. The more zeros that you want to add to it, the scarier it is for people. So I want you to look at, how do I simplify this process and how do I implement it into this process? So I want you to go back. I want you to print this off. I want you to try it with 10 new leads. And I want to hear the results. You email me at susie@susiecarter.com, CARDER as in dollar and delicious.com. I want to know what happens because it's been a game changer in my life for 25 years, a game changer. Every single sales call, I pull it up. Now, I know I've been doing it for 25 years, but I am a chatty Cathy. I will talk about things that don't need to be talked about at this point in time, and I haven't earned the right to coach them. I haven't earned the right to sell them until I do the needs analysis. It works on services, it works on product. Doesn't matter, tangible and intangible. Now, I told you about my story with Sharon, that my mindset was a little bit limiting right when I got to $1 billion contract. Some of you, it's a million, 2 million, 10 million, 100 million, whatever that number is, your limiting beliefs will creep back in. What we need to do is notice when that limiting belief comes back in. Notice, what do I need to do in this season as a CEO to keep my mindset right? It is an ongoing game, right? Time blocking is imperative when I look at my mindset. I'm no longer firefighting. I'm no longer trying to overcommit. I'm looking at my team. Sam helps me to stop overcommitting, right? I stop doing to-do lists. I do to-done lists. What will I get to done today, right? I have a strategic planning. I have a rhythm. That helps my mindset so I'm not in stress and reaction mode inside my business. So let me tell you the cold, hard truth about seven-figure business owners that you don't want to hear. You're not stuck because of your team. You're not stuck because of the market. You're stuck because you're still operating like an employee in your own business. If you're checking every invoice, if you're micromanaging everything, if you're making every decision, congratulations, you've built yourself a high-paying job and you're on the way to burnout, not building wealth. And I don't want that for you. And the only way I know this is because I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, got the trophy, got the sparkle trophy, right? And the reality, it doesn't have to be what we do. Doing the Harrison assessment will allow us to see, how do I manage this person? It takes the guesswork out. Putting a plan together and giving them KPIs allows you to hold them accountable. You don't have to like doing it, but you can do it. And so going from operator to visionary. So the operator is you solve all the problems. The operator says, I don't have time. The operator stays up late and works and gets up early. The operator takes time away from their family. The operator says, I can't afford to hire. When I get in that mode, because I do, like I do when I shut down that division, shut down that program, I'm like, oh my God, I got to lay people off. Oh my God, I can't pay that person. Oh my God. Okay, stop. What do I need to do? What value do they bring? And what result can they produce? The CEO mentality is all about hiring the people who solve the problems. Yes, you'll invest more. If you invest in me, it will pay for itself inside itself. Every team member should pay for themselves inside themselves. We should design systems that save time. And you empower your leaders to own their lane. And the CEO mentality is you can't afford not to delegate. You got to quit being the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. So I want you to own your own time, own your own calendar, own your own process. I want you to vision your time, right? I want you to, your time is about strategic planning, partnerships, vision casting. Your time is all about revenue. What's the highest income producing activity only I can do, right? What's the highest income producing activity my sales team can do? Don't spend dollar time on penny jobs. We want you to leverage high sales conversations, right? I want you to have those high sales conversations and have a sales team member with you. That's the best way to learn. I want you to manage your investor relationships. I want you out speaking, closing one-to-many versus one-to-one. Your leadership time should be spending one-on-ones with your leaders, executive meetings, and team alignment. So if you have a COO, you're spending time with the COO spending time with the other people. Your CMO, your marketing leader, is spending time with the social media. You're not managing social media. You're managing the CMO, the COO, right? You're managing the CFO. You're managing the C-suite, the CSO, the sales officer. So if you look at my framework, right, Mondays we do a weekly kickoff. In the afternoons, that's my deep work. That's when I look at, I've got from 3 to 5 every day to work on the deep work that I need to work on. The mornings are created for my client meetings, right? The afternoons are created for the team meetings. Tuesdays, I'm looking at vision and strategy. In the afternoon, I'm looking at content and creative products. Wednesday is all about revenue generation, looking at sales, talking to everyone. I do talk to my sales team every day, so I know what's coming up and what's going on. Thursdays are all team meetings, right? We're advisory or partner calls. Friday is my CEO time, right? In the afternoons are personal admin and early timeout, right? I don't want to work 7 days a week anymore. I'm building a life that I love and I'm choosing to work or not work. I want you to set your business up for that. I want you to stop attending every single meeting. You want to get the cliff notes. You want weekly reports. Stop being your own bookkeeper, scheduler, firefighter. Stop holding on to your team members that don't grow with your vision, that aren't playing big weight with you. Stop winging your days without a strategic plan. Stop it. That's frying you. Carrie Murphy had a $15 million business and drowning in to-dos, right? She was the bottleneck. We implemented time blocks, implemented Harrison assessment. We 3x'd her revenue in 9 months and we cut personal hours by 40%. She stopped being the most valuable player and became the owner of the whole damn league. What are you willing to do to shift that? What are you willing to do to change that? Are you running a business or is your business running you? If you want to step into your CEO role, again, I'm going to ask you to take the assessment. Why? Because you need to know where your holes are. Why? You need to know what are you doing and how are you doing it? We need to know what's that process because that process will take us to the sell, which I have done it multiple times, right? I've sold my business when I wasn't ready to sell my business. Like I wasn't planning on saying, like, oh, okay, I'm going to sell this now. No, the opportunity knocked. When the opportunity knocks, you need to be ready, right? So we need to look at what does my business need to do to make it sellable? The only reason I believe that I got as much money as I did is because I had everything that I'm talking about documented. I had all the systems in place. I had all the checklists to done. Here's what nobody tells you when you're grinding toward 10 million. You you don't just scale for income, you scale for freedom. The real money is made on the exit. Whether you plan to sell in 2 years or 20 years, the decisions you make today determines your valuation for tomorrow, your legacy, and your leverage. And your business is sold on profit, not income. So I want to shift from transactional thinking to wealth building is that you get paid for your time. Your business is me. Someday I'll exit. Wealth building is I'll build value. Every business is a machine. Every system I bring increases value. So it's going from operator to asset owner. Buyers don't pay for the business, they pay for predictable, documented, transferable machines. So the 5 core exit drivers you need to work on now is systematize operations. It's not going to happen overnight. So when I started working with Kim from That Good Boy restaurant, we spent 3 months documenting everything, 3 months getting it ready because she wanted to sell her business. So we had to backtrack and get everything out of her head and put it on paper. 3 months of diligence, full time, me working full time, getting it documented, putting it all together. When we went to the broker, we got 5 offers immediately because we systematized. Build an independent leadership team, an A team that can run the show without you. Get solid financial, clean books, strong margins, and reliable forecasting. Get reoccurring revenue, get retainers, get long-term contracts, get subscription models, and know the fallout and know the business model before you start it. Don't just start a subscription because I'm saying get it. Because a subscription model business is a different model than retainer. It's a different model than long-term contract. It's not set it and forget it. The average subscription model retention is 3 months. How are you going to get it for 12, 24, 36? Get brand equity, your reputation, your client base, your intellectual property. Why am I a DR? I didn't always have a DR. Part of that is brand equity, building my brand, building my expertise. What do you need to do to build your brand and build your expertise? What does your team need to do to build their brand and build their expertise? Right? So the value boosters, reoccurring revenue over 50% is a 2 to 3 times multiplier. Owners who are not involved in delivery, 25 to 40%. So when I look at my team and the training and development company that I built, I was one of 10 trainers. I wasn't the only trainer. Right. So when you look at that, that was incredibly valuable. So if I left, we still had all these amazing people. If you have documented SOPs, it's 20% of the value of the business. If you have multiple channel lead generation, that's 15% of the business. If you have strong retention, that's 10%. So when I look at building a business and building a model, you can see how do we increase the value. So I want you to focus on these and go, what's in place and what's not in place. And again, who cares if it's not in place right now? Now you know. Now we know. So now we can do something different. And so Kim, who I already just talked about, that boy good restaurant. When I met her, no systems, 3 locations. We took 3 months putting all her SOPs together. We got 4 full price offers in the first 2 weeks. We were able to franchise with the SOPs created. So she had 3 stores, 3 restaurants, and now they could open multiple restaurants because now everything was documented. I would say that's worth its weight in gold. So again, it doesn't have to be hard, it has to be strategic. So Herringstones, again, we spent a full year putting accountability systems in place, SOPs in place. We built a business that ran on systems, not feelings. Before, every single store ran independently and did stuff differently. Now everything single store runs consistently. We set the business up to sell. They weren't ready to sell right now. They still love it right now, but it's set up to sell. So as we grow, as we open more stores, as we do what we need to do, we're increasing the value of the business. We're increasing this multiplier inside of their business, right? We grew their average transaction by 50%. We doubled the average unit sales and our team retention increased 25%. So the goal isn't just about making millions, it's about making your business worth millions. And that's strategy. That strategy does not happen on chance. It's all about strategic. So when I look at exit strategies and who they're for, the strategic sell, you want to sell it to a bigger brand or a competitor. That's what we did. We sold ours to the largest publishing company in the beauty industry, right? It's great for niches, agencies, software firms. So put a list together to go, who might buy this? It can be an internal buyout. We did that with our salon and spa. We had our team buy that out. That we've sold it to our team, or your family can purchase. It's best for legacy-driven leaders. An equity partner model. Bring in investors to scale and then cash them out later. This is ideal for clients that want to grow service-based businesses, but you don't necessarily have the cash. There's many ways to structure a business, and I will say there's money everywhere. Write that down. There is money everywhere. If your name's still tied to every part of your business, you haven't built a business, you've built a prison. But if you build it right, this business becomes your exit plan, your generational wealth engine, and your freedom blueprint. So again, I want you to look at the playbook and I want you to take the assessment. The link's in here. So I want you to click the link so you can see, where am I? What do I need to do differently? How do I play this game? So this information in this course is genuinely how I powered 10 multi-million-dollar businesses and how I built them. So I hope you go through all of this and I want you to do the work. And I hope you have a ton of notes and you got incredible value from it. So one, try to implement it all by yourself. You can do that. You can spend time, money, and headache and try to figure this out and deal with all the problems that you're going to face 100% of the time by yourself. Or two, you can get help from someone like me that's built 10 multi-million-dollar businesses, who's helped hundreds of business owners, who have built 7 and 8-figure businesses, and who we've done it from the past, like Dr. Judy, like Herringstones, like that good old boy. So if you want similar results, I want you to click the first link in the description and take the assessment. That's first. From the assessment, then I will do an analysis on your business. I'll go look at your website. I'll go look at what you're doing. I'll go look at the what's working, what's not working. Why? Because I want to see if you're an ideal client. Is it time on my side? Absolutely. But I want to find out, are we a match? Can I help you? Because I want to map out your next 10 million, or like my client that I just mapped out, 100 million. I'm your profit coach. I'm Dr. Susie Carter. And remember, you're in business for yourself, not by yourself.